How should we move? Like monkeys. Well, at least that's what the data shows in this study. So we did this by climbing into the trees and observing the extensions, the flexions of wild monkeys. But like all stories, this one had a beginning. This case, 30 years ago. Here is my hip socket, and things are going wrong. Let's take a look. A healthy joint, so here's the femur or thigh bone, here's the pelvis. There should be a healthy labrum of ever-growing cartilage that helps to distribute the weight of the body onto the legs. In my case, osteoarthritis, the thinning of cartilage, was causing pain, limited motion. I could get a hip replacement, but being a scientist, I first wanted to understand this disease. Now, I had worked with thousands of bones in the past in Africa, and so I knew that our skeleton's really built well, and it's built to last. And so I was wondering what is going on. Rothschild and Wood, 1991, they noticed that if you live in a cage as an animal, you're going to develop arthritis fairly young in life. So I thought, how about monkeys? Because we are basically built like a monkey. And the reports are that arthritis is rare in wild monkeys. And most scientists say, well, of course, because something kills them. When you get old, you slow down, and a predator is going to kill you. But I wondered, well, is there another explanation? And so my mission was to find elderly monkeys. So I went throughout Central America, and there are not many elderly monkeys in the wild. But I did find a place in Smithsonian, Panama, protected since 1923. It's an island. And so there was elderly monkeys, but the study had a rocky start because working in the rainforest is insane. All the plans we had made were failing and unraveling. And the fungus, fungus was just rotting our clothes. And I don't want to get too negative here, but I just want you to understand that if you're miserable, it's hard to collect data. And these darn botflies, the eggs get under the skin, and my ankles felt like little marbles, like moving around. It was just the strangest thing. Okay, week 3, we started to get a little bit organized. We cooked some termites, kind of get our revenge on the insects. Our traps, we got possums and rodents, and the monkeys were so elusive. And the problem is when we're looking at monkeys moving through the trees, okay, this view right here in the lower left, oh, that's beautiful because we can see the postures. But in reality, let's take a look. You're looking up into the canopy, often with binoculars, and you have a clipboard. And, oh, there goes one jumping. Now, how are you going to measure posture on that guy? He's going to go running off to the right. There he goes. And then on the lower left, we see one climbing up, making a leap in a few seconds. Okay, can you imagine trying to measure posture? Where's the leg? Where's the arm? Okay, so you can get the idea of the problems in this kind of study. But we took photographs, and we started to design mathematical formulas for every single posture, and even the trees. Like here's San Diego Zoo. Its complexity very different than the rainforest. And even the rainforest has open and closed sorts of canopies. All right, climbing also, almost everything about this study was difficult because at first it seemed like, okay, this is going to work. But then, there's these darn strangler figs and lots of eyelash vipers in the upper canopy. And they're not, lethal, but they can be a problem. And so we got help from the locals. This was a local mountain lion. And here are my kids. And so they came when they were young, and they still help me, even in recent years. Looking at bones in different locations, we can see that arthritis is not a function of age in monkeys. It's more of a function of captivity. Now, to be honest, there's hormones and there's genetics and trauma. So it's not just about movements, but movement is a big part of it. And in these bone studies, we just kind of measured, okay, what happens in the hip when the leg is in extension, flexion, neutral. Okay, where is the cartilage in contact? And that becomes an important part in the study. I'll hit on that. Our first paper got rejected because of the data. And so we found other elderly monkeys here in Nicaragua. That was Ometepe, and La Suerte, Costa Rica. And we could bolster our data. And we also improved our techniques. And we got to find a few dead monkeys and see the beautiful, look at that dome-shaped femoral head and the beautiful acetabulum, right? So truly, living in the wild seems to benefit primates. And here's a monkey in San Diego Zoo in a flexion position. So flexion means the leg is bent. Think of it like an easy boy chair, a very relaxing posture for a primate. Okay, lots of data here, but what it mostly says is that complex environments lead to complex movements. And so in our own homes, we really shouldn't be using a remote control. We should be getting up. Maybe we should have the light switches near the floor. We should be moving around. Okay. In the canopy study, number 3 was real important because if we are miserable because of bees stinging us or irritating oils, ants, then we didn't care about our data. And so we started getting this checklist before we even stepped into the field. We gave some papers, Aging Society of America, and we worked with some other scientists. Dr. Lamb was a Tai Chi master who gave us some good hints. And I sketched this skull of an elderly monkey that was captured in the wild with beautiful femoral head. So here again, being old doesn't mean we have to get arthritis. In the green, we have the wild monkeys, lots of extension, neutral, flexion. But in zoos, they're in that easy boy chair, right? They're in that flexion almost all day long. Basically one movement. So cartilage feeds by being squashed like a sponge. When we move, it compresses and it absorbs nutrients in that synovial joint, right? There's no blood vessels here to feed it. It has to be fed by squishing. And so we got to move. It's so important that I decided to become a yoga instructor. I had 2 months of training because I started realizing that movement can be beneficial and for the joints. All right, so move in wide-ranging ways if you want to keep moving. Here's a flexion. You see that? Flexion. Lots of data here, but mostly it's showing that in the captivity, lots of flexion. Here's the easy boy chair. In the wild, a variety of movements. So let's keep moving. For fun, we did a non-scientific study. My son, daughter, and I, we walked from France, 540 miles all across Spain and up the north. And remember, I had severe arthritis, but after a few days, the synovial fluid pumping into my hip socket started to ease the pain, and I finished the Camino. And this study is ongoing. One day I hope to find out the answer. Thanks for listening.